Cisco. They said, well, why is, I asked them, why is Cisco so important to you? They said, because he's always there for us. He may not have much, but he'll try to help us where he can. He tells us about things we shouldn't do. And they were describing a father figure which they didn't have in their lives.
Sure.
And so you are on exactly the right track. But isn't mentoring, there are programs that help to organize so that we can mentor those who need it, but isn't it about, isn't it a natural thing about being with someone? I've been meeting with a young man for about 20 years now.
Perfect.
It's not an in and out kind of thing, a short-term thing, because many young people have too many people in and out of their lives.
Right.
But it's, I'm not saying that every mentor has to be with someone that long, but isn't about sharing your life, helping to consult, advise at times, but being with someone through those ups and downs, thick and thin.
Exactly.
Isn't that part of what it's all about?
People are worried about mentoring. They don't think that they have the ability to do it. The essential component to mentoring is one's time. 1 hour a week. I tell guys, just show up and shut up. That's what I need you to do. All right? It might not be the most pretty way to say it, but what I need you to do is just be there for this young man consistently. And we require the mentors that we find, they have to commit to 1 hour a week for 48 weeks. So 1 year, basically. And guys are just blown away when they get done with the 48 weeks. They say to themselves and to me, I didn't teach him anything. But his grades improved, his disobedience decreased, and he got a job, and I didn't do anything. And I say, no, you did amazing things, because you're probably one of the first men in his life who's been there consistently for him. You know, 1 hour, 2 years is what we say. All I need you to do is just listen for an hour, and you'll know the right answers. You know, we all have the ability, and now we all need to take the responsibility to do that. So,
you know, I believe in that old adage, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
You bet.
And our time is a real treasure. I mean, you and I know that. We get so busy in life, and it seems like we don't have enough time.
Right.
But really, we do have enough time to do what we need to do. And giving of that time, it means that's where our heart is going to be. And I think that once you give that time, you get involved, your emotions are there, and your heart starts to go there. And I know the person I've been meeting with for so long, my heart's there. And you're a pastor, so you'll understand this. I call him my Timothy, because of the relationship between Paul and Timothy in the Bible, where Paul would instill in Timothy some of those wonderful characteristics and help to draw those out to help Timothy be the man that he needed to be. So I think that's what you're doing is obviously absolutely terrific.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, there are, you said over, what, 1,000 kids waiting for mentors right now, and I think there's a report by the U.S. Department of Justice saying that 70% of the juveniles in state-operated institutions come from fatherless homes.
Correct.
And that's why it's so critical to have male role models. Now, isn't this issue of mentoring good for young girls and young ladies as well?
You bet. We just know that when we find 2,000 men, which is our goal, we are finding 2,000 men for 2010 to mentor these amazing kids. But I know that when I find 2,000 men, we'll find 10,000 women.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Those young people who are in the juvenile justice system are primarily boys. And that's why we need men to man up and mentor. So that's the greatest need.
Yeah.
It's also a market that is difficult to reach. You know, males are perceived as the primary breadwinner, so they don't have as much time. Mentoring is seen as nurturing and not so much as modeling, and you know, males don't necessarily want to nurture something. But that's not mentoring. Mentoring is more like modeling. You know, how do you swing a hammer? How do you throw a curveball? How do you get a job? Okay, these are all things that men have primarily done, and we need to market that. So, you know, we need to change the culture, and that's why we do what we're doing.
I like that. We do need to change the culture. Now, you've been involved in mentoring, you and your wife, for quite some time. I mean, how many children are you mentoring now?
Well, not many of them are children anymore, because I've been mentoring over about 10 young men for about 8 years. I mentor 15 guys right now. So my youngest is in junior high, and some of them are married and have jobs, and it's more like executive coaching now. But yeah,
that's great. Yeah, that's got to be very gratifying to you to see
awesome.
Those young people grow up and do well. What's your greatest reward as a mentor?
My dream is that other people's dreams come true. So when I see Jake get a job as a writer, because that's his dream. When I see Andy get married, because that's his dream. When I see Graham start a business, or when I see Reese go to college and be the first young person in his family to go to college, and I'm able to pass on some wisdom and some of the tools. We gathered some resources together and bought him a laptop. I mean, you should have seen him, Senator. It was just the most amazing thing. Seeing their dreams come true, that is what mentoring is all about. And it takes a lot of patience. I mean, 8 years for 2 of those guys to see some of their dreams come true. And there's days when I pull my hair out, and there's days when, you know, they help me keep it in. But it's over the long term that you begin to see dramatic effects. So that's what mentoring does.
Well, you know, you mentioned there are days when you pull your hair out, and I think that's important, because it doesn't mean that everything is going to be easy. But I don't know that there are many things that are really that important in this life that are just plain easy.
Right.
But I think we can get to the good stuff, but you have to kind of handle some of the ups and downs too.
Yeah. Great dreams always require sacrifice.
Yeah, but well worth it.
Well worth it, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it seems to me that part of the whole issue is just relationship building. And you mentioned some of the men said, well, I didn't do anything, but they were there. And I'm sure to that young person who perhaps hasn't had a consistent, if it's a young man, a consistent male in his life that just wants to be there for him, care about him, that means an incredible amount. I mean, it means so much to him.
It's huge. You know, one of the men in my life was a farmer next door. My family were going through some tough times, and he just opened his doors. He said, "Roy, come on over whenever you want." So I bopped on over. Probably a dozen times, no more. And there were days he didn't even stop working. I just worked alongside of him. But 10 years later, I went back home, and I walked in a restaurant, and there he is, sitting at the head of the table with his family along the side. He didn't know I was in town. And I walk up behind him. I put my hands on his shoulder, and I said, "Now, let me tell you about Carl. This is what Carl meant to me. When I didn't have a place to go, he opened his doors. When nobody would listen, he let me speak." And I mean, tears are just running down his eyes, and he stands up, turns around, and gives me a hug. And he had no idea that he had made that kind of impact in my life. It was a safe place to go. It was just somebody that I could talk to, and I knew that he wasn't going to, you know, turn me away. I knew that he would be there. So that's what mentoring's about.
Yeah. I think that, and I don't remember the statistics, but even kids who are in very troubled situation, at-risk situations, will say that there was one person at one point in their life that was there for them, and that maybe showed them the way, or was there just to be a comfort to them, and that helped them work their way through.
We all have those people.
Oh, absolutely.
We can all look back. You know, they've taken juvenile delinquents in high school and matched them up with juvenile delinquents in junior high